Dobar dan. Gospodin minister, gospe in gospodje, zahvaljujem se za vabilo za NCE na to konferenco in čeprav je moja slovenščina morda dovolj za vsakdanjo rabo, ampak za profesionalno ni in jaz bom tudi nadaljeval v angleščini. Since NCE, as a sister organization of NCOG, or more or less formed on the very similar rules and regulations, is also sharing the same address in Brussels for the Secretariat. We had some insight in the preparation of what Mr. Musatsi already presented. So our presentation is slightly different in order to avoid unnecessary repetition, although there are subtle and perhaps not always some subtle differences between the electricity transmission and gas transmission. I will start from the magic triangle, which was already addressed in some of the previous presentation, called this famous trilemma, with slightly perhaps different namings of competitiveness, security of supply, and climate change. The TSOs were originally in electricity always firstly connected with the security of supply in order to keep the lights on. In the meantime, with the third package and with all of what is happening also now on the European scale, the roles and responsibilities of the TSOs grew quite a lot in this respect, and hopefully this challenge of this magical triangle will not become a Bermuda Triangle for anybody. Oops, sorry. Regarding the addressing this trilemma from the EU level is how NCE sees it as an answer or attempt to give an answer to this trilemma with a quite broad and challenging effort, which is, as also Professor Galland said, it's just the beginning of the very open and broad communication on this, which should in time resolve with some implementation of these highlighted concrete actions and numerous initiatives. But the 5 guiding dimensions will be it's something what we can already be oriented towards, and this is something what I will present in the continuation of this presentation, how NCE sees it and its role towards these guiding dimensions. TSOs are something what we see as a tool, as an instrument to enable this transition of the energy system, which is very commonly topic in broad circles regarding the energy in general. And in this sense, also addressing the possible solutions for this energy trilemma. What's NCE? NCE is the association of 41 TSOs from 35 countries, so all EU countries except Malta, then Switzerland, Norway, Iceland, Bosnia and Herzegovina, Serbia, Montenegro, and Macedonia. TSOs of NCE are serving 530 million of citizens. On the grids of the TSOs in NCE, there are 830 gigawatt of installed generation capacity, and the transmission lines of different voltage levels are accounting for 300,000 of kilometers. Of course, the transmission in every country, it's not the same voltage levels. It goes even below 110 as it is in Slovenia and Croatia. But there are also, particularly the bigger countries, where these are only 400 and 220 kV lines. So this is also one small example of the diversity we have among our members. The products or the contributions what NCOE, so meaning the NCOE as a whole, the NCOE Secretariat and its members, are preparing for the stakeholders and for the European society as a whole, range from the adequacy forecasts, which are from the short terms, from the seasonal ones, famous winter or summer forecast outlooks, up to the long-term adequacy forecasts, which are also part of the 10-year network development plans, which go much beyond now these 10 years to 15 plus years ahead. Market platforms for serving the market participants in a transparent way, as transparency platform for the NSOC. Also, the transparency platform of NCOE has, since the beginning of this year, a new phase, new functionality, and also new obligations according to the regulations. And the network codes as something what huge efforts were invested, not only, of course, among TSOs and NCOE, but of the whole stakeholder community. It's something what in our common presentation looks a little different, but following the same principles, starting with the framework guidelines from Acer, going then below to this perhaps most challenging phase of the implementation. So the three basic groups of the electricity network codes are the market ones, the blue group, the connection ones, the green group, and the red one concerning the security, the system operation. These 9 ones are not competing, of course, among each other, but the one which is very close to the let's say interim goal, the adoption, is the capacity allocation and congestion management network code, which will be then the first one which will come into force this year. And this is also the rule which Mr. Potočnik mentioned, that it's still not in force, but is already followed in very much for the day-ahead markets. I already mentioned the TNDP, and the sentence on the top of the slide, in fact, comprises the basic message from the TSOs that the stable regulatory framework and the permission grantings, it's sine qua non for realization of this huge volume of investments in this next 15 years. What TNDP should and hopefully will enable this 20% reduction of the CO2 in the power sector, the large-scale renewable sources coverage of the total consumption, and what is the most challenging and most attractive, of course, for the consumer, the power price reduction up to €5 per megawatt hour. And what is TNDP in its essence? There are hundreds of projects of covering of all the TSOs of the NCOE, and of course these thousands, tens of thousands of kilometers are not only the new lines. In this period of 10 years plus, there are of course the numerous lines which have to be refurbished due to the end of the life cycle or the changing requirements of their operation. But also this very small comparison between the DC and the cables and the overhead lines shows very massive tendency, also caused by the not so favorable public perception of the transmission infrastructure, to go to the new technologies, mostly the DC and cables, for a lot of applications, not only the submarine ones. And since also in the title of this conference there is a 2050 year, there is one project popularly called the e-highways or electricity highways, which is trying to position towards predicted changes in the power sector composition of the energy mix and other changes coming ahead. And of course, with the years going to the future, the number of question marks and uncertainties rises. But the roadmap towards 2050 is the basis and should be the basis for the long-term European framework. And on the large scale, trying to summarize the main challenges of especially a large scale or zero carbon society as the aim, it requires numerous new approaches into the transmission infrastructure and planning and research and development. This long-lasting project, 3 years is long, but of course short towards 2050, should give the results by the end of this year. And for the final part of the presentation, few basic visions what NCE drafted for the energy union, seeing it as, of course, as a joint effort of the whole power sector. Citizens are those who are and who should be at the core of the energy union, which requires, of course, their active participation, solidarity, and public acceptance, which I already mentioned is sometimes lacking towards our business. And transparency, already mentioned several times, as a basic precondition for more trust into the activities in the power sector. Establishing markets across all time frames. We saw today mostly the presentations towards the day ahead, which is quite advanced into the integration, in the market integration for the EU. But it's not enough. The internal electricity market should be completed also for the other time frames. What something is also important to mention, the market design needs an update. And software and hardware, software having it in the network codes, which the implementation is in front of us, and the hardware, the infrastructure, needs to be matched. And this matching is something what we as NCE and the TSOs in general are giving it the fullmost attention. And the regional system adequacy assessments is also something what is already the product of NCE. Of course, it should be increasingly adopted to the needs of the energy union vision. Regarding the seamless European regulation, we see the strengthening of ACER as a necessary step to remove the regulatory complexity, which is not only something what is sometimes hindering the cross-border projects of the TSOs, but the investments in energy sector in general. And definition of the coordination mechanisms in the emergency, in the scarcity situations, is something what is very highly on the politics agenda. sometimes more in gas than in electricity, but definitely something what needs to have also well-prepared measures. And the regional cooperation, already mentioned several times today, is something what is in the core of the NCOE functioning, since NCOE was formed from on the basis of the previous 5 regional TSO organizations in Europe, from the UCT in the continental Europe, Nordel in the north, UK and Ireland TSO associations, and Baltral. And in this sense of enhancing regional cooperation, of course, there is a role which already TSOs in NCOE, most of them, or at least, are already playing this, what we call the regional security cooperation. 2 of such regional security cooperations are already functioning, the COREZO and TSC. TSC being the one where also LS and HOPS, so Slovenian and Croatian TSOs, are taking part. These 2 RSCIs, Regional Security Cooperation Initiatives, are already cooperating very well between each other. But in the next period, also the other regions, other parts of NCOE, the TSOs will form the counterpart RSCIs, and the NCOE will take increased attention to coordinate activities among the RSCIs in order to emphasize this regional cooperation. And in this spirit, I will thank you for your attention.